And welcome back. This is Rock City Central, and it's also another podcast called Behind That Band, but we're going to really focus a little bit on Gabby. But I wanted to actually bring Gabby in here. Gabby used to work with us over at Rock Out Loud, and I want every single person who's ever seen any of these podcasts to follow Gabby, because you're going to see a superstar in the making. And I think this is really important for everybody that comes, whether it's to Rock Out Loud or if they come to any of the music schools. If you want to see how it's done, and I'm really a fan of capturing the journey, I want to welcome Gabby Cinque here to our podcast. Give a round of applause.
Thank you.
Well, it's really, I wanted to have you on for a lot of reasons, but I think the most important reason is because you are actually at that point where I think you're about to break soon. I feel like watching your path, your journey, has been something that's been, it's been awesome because you're all over social media. And I think I tell people a lot of times is when you're in a band, it's not so much the music, you're now a marketer. Because you can write the greatest book or the greatest song, but if you don't know how to market it, no one's going to know about you.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me how you've gotten from where you were. Now, I remember you at a singing contest where was it? It was in
Point Pleasant Beach.
That's
2017, maybe?
Yes, and I never saw you, and I don't remember seeing you, but everybody kept saying, "This Gabby Cinque, this Gabby Cinque." She's playing up against Sal. So I remember that's where I remember your name coming up, and then eventually you started working with us at Rock Out Loud. But I want you to explain, your journey, and you mentioned something to me that I want you to bring up to the audience. I don't know how comfortable you are saying it or if you even recall it, but you said, I wanted to prove to my dad that I can do this and I can make money doing it. Do you remember saying something like that?
I do. I say that all the time, yeah. Because, music wasn't really a thing in my family. Like, all my cousins went away to school to have, adult jobs.
Yeah, real jobs.
And I was always
plans.
just like, I just want to perform. It wasn't, I want to teach music or do anything else with music. I just want to be in the spotlight. I want to be on stage. And I always figured it out myself. I didn't have like the stage parent booking my auditions. I was sending emails when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And trying to get connections. And some people would answer and be like you're ridiculous, but I just got myself out there as much as possible. I always just knew that the more people know you, the more you network, then
right.
You get there. And I just started going out, meeting people. I started here really and saw all these like musicians in a group, and then saw the jams happening locally, like Sandy Mac and Kevin Hill jams, and I started going to those.
How old were you when you started going to that?
It was like last year I started going to those for the most part. And that was, I already had my other band that I worked for. I had this whole master plan. I always wanted to have my own band, but I was like, people really aren't going to take me seriously till I know exactly what to do, and I just like go head on, or I'll, I don't know what I was saying.
So you played with I know you played with another band. There was a post on social media. You said something like, I've envisioned myself here doing it myself.
Yes. So I had another band that I was in. I'm not going to say their name. So I was in that band when I was 19. I was like, okay, this is an opportunity to work for somebody, get in these venues, see how I can get my name to this level. So I started doing these cover gigs with this band, and it was a situation where people were working for me and I was working for them, and they were just so set on the fact that I was young and I was a girl and that I didn't know what I was doing, so it was my first time doing it, and I couldn't sing the songs I wanted to sing. I really had no say in anything, so I had this plan the whole time I was in the band. The day I turned 21, I am going to start my own band, and 2 months prior to being 21, about last April, I started booking shows under the radar, and I kind of just that day I had a gig come up. It was like May 14th was my first gig with my band, and I just said, I was like, I'm done.
So why did you wait until 21? Most people want 15, they're in bands, right?
Because I wanted to be in control of everything.
Look at you. I love it. That is awesome.
Because I knew if I was, underage, then it was kind of, I had somebody would just kind of have to talk for me and book things for me and not.
What about high school?
Well, when I was in high school, I would try to sing as much as possible places, but it wasn't a steady job. I started the duo probably as soon as I graduated high school, but that wasn't fun. I always wanted a band, and then this other opportunity just came up, so I was like, you know what? It's going to get me in places that people haven't seen me before.
That's right.
And I just joined the band. People started noticing me, and I was like, you know what? I could do this myself. Like, I mean, people were constantly coming up to me like, why don't you have your own band? So I was like, you're right, you know, I should. But it was basically I wanted to sit and watch what not to do from the people I was working for. And then as soon as I felt like
what were some of the things? I mean, tell people, what were some of the things you shouldn't do?
You know, treat your employees like they don't matter. You know, because that was another thing I always make sure with my bandmates. What songs do you guys want to play? You know, what do you like? I just keeping the peace, making everyone happy. You know, because it's not just it says my name on the band, and that was my thing. It was if I'm gonna put my name on the band, I still want everyone to feel like there's a reason they should be playing. I don't want them to just be working for me. You know, like they all have input. You know, just as much like. And honestly, I've found that my band has been almost more successful than this band that I was working for that was going for 30 years because of I've just noticed the operation just being unprofessional, and professionalism is number one to me. It always has been.
It's leadership too,
Yes.
Gabby.
Yeah, and just, you know, communicating with people and making people trust you, and just like people trust, you know, my mindset and business-wise. So they want to work with me just because they know, I mean, I haven't been doing this that long, but people, you know, believe that I know what I'm doing.
You got a great reputation. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the number one thing. I was working for people that didn't have a good reputation in the field, and I was like, how do I make sure this doesn't happen to me?
Exactly.
You know?
So I'm going to ask you something, and I'm going through this now. So my kids wanted to not go to college. Now Mateo is graduating soon, and he doesn't want to go to college, and I'm cool with it. You want to be a rock star? You want to be a musician? Go for it. Now, how did that work with your parents?
Well, so the thing is everyone in my family really went to college, but my parents, they didn't. Once I was about 18, they knew I could do this. I wasn't even making money. I think they were just confident in just the way I would speak about what I was going to do.
You're
like
a type A and you're a leader.
Yeah.
So anything that you want to do, whether it's a plumber or a rock star, you're probably going to be the best at.
Yeah, so I planned out everything. I was like, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make money, and I'm going to show you before everyone else my age even graduates that I could make steady money doing this.
Right.
And, well, I went to Brookdale for a little while, and I was just bored out of I hate school, honestly.
Yeah.
I could not do it. I can't focus. I have terrible ADHD.
Right.
Which, except for when it comes to music and planning, you know, what's going on in my head.
Is it possible because you're really interested in it and you really give a shit about it? It's not like science.
Yeah, because that's another thing. I mean, my parents growing up didn't actually believe I had ADHD, so I didn't get diagnosed until like my junior year of high school. And then we found out it was like super severe because it was always, oh, well, how can you be so good at memorizing lyrics and songs and, you know, you're always just doing art and stuff, but then when it comes to stuff you don't want to do, like, there was more laziness.
Right.
But then we realized, and then it, like, changed my life, actually, like, figuring that out and realizing, like, okay, this is why I'm, like, this is basically therapy for me, is anything art, painting, you know, anything, singing, writing.
It's also the work ethic. So Alyssa, who once managed the desk, said to me, the only person who was always here on time, 15 minutes before her lessons were going to start, and she was always consistent, never calls out a day, and always hustling, is Gabby. And, you know, it's true because you can see that no matter what you do, and I just said I was a plumber, but you chose to be like, and I really think that you're going to be a rock star one day. I'm capturing as the flower is starting to blossom, and I said, you know, I need people to see what you're like before that breaks. And I feel like that because forget about the fact that Nancy Wilson, which is one I love Part 2, mentioned that you did a great job on that.
Thank you.
Crazy for You cover. But, you know, I'm watching your work ethic, and I keep telling my children who want to be musicians, it's you're a great songwriter, you're a great player, but it's more than that. It's a work ethic. You're now a marketer, and you're a leader. Like, you are running a company, the Gabby Cinque company, with 4 or 5 members in it, you know, drums, guitar, bass. How do you do that and maintain the same work ethic where you have to focus on your marketing, focus on your songwriting? You have a lot to manage.
Yeah, my number one thing is when I take it too seriously, I find myself struggling with that, but I just make sure I always have fun. Like, we have rehearsal, and I make sure I set aside a whole night to go out and go to a jam and, you know, go sing with my friends and these hippies in Asbury, you know, and then that kind of inspires the art. Like, I stay up all night writing and painting and doing the creative part of it, And then during the day, that's when in the morning I'll take my medicine and then I'll get on the phone with people and just be planning stuff out all day.
Yeah.
And then come 4 o'clock, that's when the creativity kind of takes
Wow.
over. So it's really like 24/7 going on.
So I guess then so people who are watching this who are wanting to follow in your footsteps, you started out as a cover band, is that right?
Kind of, yes. We would write, but we wouldn't. I basically said people aren't going to hire us if we do originals right off the bat, because I saw it happen with a lot of people I knew, and I tried it for a while. I tried to do pop music, and it wasn't me, and I always knew that. It was just my way to get free recording sessions, you know?
That's a good point. So how do you do it? Do you just, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that don't want to do covers. Is there a way around it?
The thing is I still don't want to do covers, you know,
Really?
but you make it fun. I do stuff like people wouldn't expect me to do. I do Enter Sandman and, you know, Man in the Box and Rage Against the Machine and Limp Bizkit. Cool. And so people don't expect that, and it's more fun for me to experiment in different styles, and especially when I want to be doing originals, I aim the covers for what the originals are going to sound like, and then when I sneak the originals in the same genre, then people don't even notice really, and half the time I don't even tell them that it's an original song. You kind of just gauge the reaction. If people look bored, then we got to work on it.
So how are originals working out so far in your set?
So it depends on the venue. A lot of times we play in like AC and, you know, those clubs, and we're kind of just breaking into them. So I kind of play it safer there. The local places though, that's where our following is. So we get people who come out and they want to hear the originals. So we'll play them. It really just depends on the night. Like we're doing the Stone Pony and Salties February 4th and February 5th, and those are just only originals. So we kind of separate those shows to make a draw for it too, because if I was playing originals every night with my cover band, I wouldn't make any money, and I wouldn't be able to sell tickets when I want to play the Stone Pony, you know?
That's a good point. So when you just told me you got a booking agent, and that booking agent is getting you to play all of, let's call it the Northeast maybe, or the East Coast?
East Coast, yeah.
So, and I was asking you earlier, and maybe you could just share that with you. So when you go and you play these places, lots of times they expect you to draw, but they don't know you. So what's the key when you're playing outside of your area to get people to see you?
Well, a lot of the times we're in crowded rooms, so it's easier that way. And a lot of times, I mean, if I know that the room's not going to be crowded that night, I'll go early and I'll walk down the street to the bar down the street in, you know, my big flashy leather outfit, you know, skin showing. Then people ask me what I'm doing there, and I say, oh, I'm singing down the street, and then people kind of follow.
You see, that's the hustle that I'm talking about. You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. People think that they're just going to show up. You know, people think that they got some great songs. You know, I have friends that wrote books, and some of them were like working with the President of the United States. And I worked with this gentleman, his name was Rich, and he wrote this book on environmental stuff, and it was a great book. And he sold a few hundred copies. And the guy's a genius, but he had no idea how to market, didn't have his own website or anything like that. So it's more than just the music. What I guess I'm trying to convey to everybody that's watching is it's just more about the music. You're a marketer. So I've seen you on Instagram. I've seen you on Facebook. Are you on TikTok?
Yes. I went viral on TikTok a few times. A few months ago, Barstool posted me. I think like now I'm at 44,000.
Wow.
I don't post too often though, because it's weird. I'll post once every 3 months, and then I go back on the app and I realize it has like 100,000 views or whatever.
Wow.
But I just don't have the time to, like, I wish I had all the time in the world, because I have so many ideas for like content and all that. But right now it's just head on with like.
But who manages that? Because right now you're posting every day.
Yeah, I post. I manage everything myself. I
mean, these are the things
no
that I'm trying to tell, you know, even my kids are in a band. You got to post every day. It's content. People need to see you every single day, not just once a week. I mean, you could post things in your recording studio, just chop it up, and then you could do that for 2 weeks. You can just post little at a time.
Yeah.
So social media is important, and the fact that you run it yourself is big, because a lot of people hire third parties.
Yeah, no, I've never.
You know, they'll send it out to the Philippines, or they'll hire somebody up on Fiverr, and they'll do terrible job at the grammar and stuff like that. So, all right, so some of the keys here some of the takeaways is when you left high school and now it's time to go into the workforce and you decide to do this, right? No pushback from the parents?
Never.
Okay, so then now I know that you're going and you're playing shows. Show the audience the laundry list of shows. And when is that through? This summer?
This is from last weekend to September 29th.
That is amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
but how does that
stressful
affect?
looking at it.
But how does that affect your social life? Because you're in hotels in different places.
The thing is that is my social life. I don't have a social life really, and my social life outside of these gigs where I'm making money, it's when I want to go out, I go out and find bands that are playing that want to have me up and sing. Like when I'm not singing one night, it kind of drives me crazy. I just go to find open mics. I'll sing to a room of 5 people. I'll sing to a room of 1,000 people. I just love doing it.
Who's your favorite artist to sing?
Heart.
Really?
100% Heart.
They are not easy.
Heart. That's it.
Wow. Big Zeppelin fans. I've always loved Heart. That is so true. So as far as the thing that I was going to ask you, which I asked you early, was you're playing with band members that are, so lots of times band members associate themselves with the group names, whether it's Heart or Led Zeppelin. But with the Gabby Cinque band, it's other artists. Now they leave. Now they got to go out of state as well too. So do they get compensated more when they're out of state? It's almost like, are they session players or are they real band members?
They're real band members.
Really?
Yeah, the drummer right now, because our drummer was underage, so we're trying to find somebody who can, or maybe somebody closer towards that area who could split the schedule with time and stuff. But it really depends on the gig. We're making pretty good money, so I'd say as of right now, it's like for a drive to Delaware, I'd say I could probably do like $400 a person and rooms.
Wow.
So that's pretty okay for starting.
That's pretty amazing.
Thank you. I mean, it's I think it's okay for right now. Like Atlantic City, I'd say it's probably like $300 a person. It really varies. But
they get the free room, so it's
depending on the night and the slot we're in.
Got
So
it.
it's kind of weird and iffy. It's circumstantial every single night. Yeah.
So now the next thing I was going to ask you is, with that laundry list of shows, are you ever afraid of A, getting sick, B, blowing your voice out, and then the next night you're screwed and you can't play the show? What do you do? This is important.
It's a concern of mine always. I don't recall a time I've ever been sick enough to cancel a gig.
Really?
Usually I'll get my throat, I could have a sore throat and have a hoarse voice, but I'll take a shot of apple cider vinegar in between sets and I get through it. And we transpose our songs a lot. I'll say, okay, take this one down tonight, but then the next night, if I feel better, I'll want to do it regular.
That's, by the way, transposing is bringing the song down into a different key so it's more comfortable. That is so important.
Very important.
Yeah. Led Zeppelin, when they got back together, they brought everything down for Robert Plant.
Yeah.
Couldn't sing that. But now, when you play, I mean, you've ever had that time where you couldn't, or you were so bad you couldn't play, but that's not happened with all of your shows?
Not really, because a lot of the stuff I do now, I kind of tweaked my set to be able to do stuff like that. Like, we do Ace of Spades, Motorhead. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll do nights where my voice isn't feeling up to it. I'll do more stuff like that where it's just, I can have a hoarse voice, or like, I'm just trying to play
for the crowd, play for the song, I suppose, right?
And honestly, if I am ever, feeling like really just like run down, it's just have a drink, I don't know, and I feel fine.
Well, then let's go now in terms of your I guess, lessons. Have you taken vocal lessons?
Oh, yes, lots.
Who was you want to mention some of your coaches?
Yeah, my first coach was this man named Mick Walsh. He's from the United Kingdom. But he's phenomenal. He introduced me to the Beatles. Is he in the States, though? Does he live in the States? He actually lives like down the street from me. And I just actually recently ran into him at a bar, and we did a duet at karaoke night.
Wow.
Which was really cool. But yeah, he worked with Paul McCartney when he was younger.
Wow.
He's done some cool stuff. He introduced me to all like that rock stuff, basically. Because that was also when I was in Rocket Live at the Basie. So that's where
right.
My parents didn't introduce me to Zeppelin or anything. I found it myself.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
my mom loves, Shakira, whatever was, hip at the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, then how did you find Zeppelin? How did you find Heart?
From Rocket Live, basically, because that's where it's all classic rock stuff.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, I really like this stuff. And I did, musical theater and stuff like that all through. I've tried every single genre, but I always went back to rock. It was always my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
Queen was probably my first favorite band. It was the first I was fully introduced to. Yeah, and then I never stopped listening to rock music.
So he was your only teacher?
Oh, no. Him, and then I had Jo Weimer. I don't know if you know her. She's from Freehold. She's a great singer-songwriter as well. And then I had, Mrs. McGowan at Howell, she taught me too. But my big vocal coach was Sal Dupree.
Everybody knows Sal Dupree.
Oh, you know him?
I know of him, and I know he's taught a lot of people.
A great guy, great vocal coach.
He's in South Jersey, isn't he?
Yes, so we would drive 2 hours. Me and my dad, for like 2 years, would drive 2 hours.
How did you find him?
There. I found him because when I was 16, I went on The Voice, but I didn't actually get on the show. So I went there for a whole month and everything, and I was living like in the hotel with these people, and this one girl went to him, and I was like, I need a better...
Stephanie Hanvey?
No.
She went to him for years.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I did know that,
she was
actually.
on American. I think she was on American Idol.
Yeah, she was way older than me, though. She went to Howell.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, but he was the best vocal coach I've ever had. He completely changed my voice.
What made him the best?
He would pick apart these things, which actually when I taught here, it was like a lot of the techniques that he showed me that I never even heard other vocal coaches doing. I stray away from, the regular technique of it, because he would just pick apart things and tell me how to phrase certain vowels, and his main mantra was always, you have to have color while you're singing, and that kind of changed the way I sing, because you hear music as color and moods and stuff. And he showed me some singers. This girl Yeba, who's phenomenal. If you check her out, you could just hear the emotion in every note and every vowel, and just opening the voice rather than just singing a song just to get the notes perfectly. It's you have to shape the notes, and you create like a story when you're singing, and that was something that he totally just changed my voice. Like I had the technique there, but then he just shaped it into what it is now.
In 2 years you went with him.
Yeah, I honestly maybe a little less than that. COVID hit, and we did Zoom lessons for a while, and I hated that, so I just kind of stopped.
I would love if you can introduce me to Sal. I mean, I've heard so many things about him, and I know so many people that took lessons from him too. His name. I knew it was gonna come up. I forgot who it was, and then I heard Dupree. I was like, "Yep, that's Sal Dupree."
He's the best of the best. He taught Pink, actually.
Did he really?
Yeah, but before she was Pink, when I think her name's Alicia.
Was she a Jersey girl?
Yeah. Back when he was, I think she was part of like a trio girl group thing. But yeah, he has like pictures all over his wall of like everyone he's ever taught. So.
Wow, and she's such a great singer.
Oh yeah.
Holy smokes. One thing I wanted to ask you, do you do any like self-motivation, self-help people? Like, for example, I'm a big Tony Robbins guy. You follow a lot of those steps of visualization and putting out goals. Jim Rohn, I'm a big fan of. Do you follow any of those people?
Not really. I just kind of go by what I think in my head. I kind of like make up my own ways of doing things. Like a lot of times things just come to me, like, ways of doing things. I'll just say, okay, well, this isn't working for that band because they're doing this, and if I do this, it's gonna work. And a lot of the times it just does. I should write a book. I don't know.
Yeah, because a lot of your goal setting is exactly what people tell you. So you really have to know what you're going for. Like I see when you said to me a year ago, I was working here. Now I got my own band, and you saw yourself after high school and you're 21, you're joining a cover band. So what do you see yourself in, like, say, the next 24 to 48 months? Do you see yourself as the Taylor Swift of what Taylor Swift does? I mean, that artist type of thing?
So my goal right now is to do covers throughout the summer, use that exposure, put out the originals, put out, hopefully, the album by June, get the exposure, market that all summer, and I'm hoping to land us on a tour by September.
And it's just, when you say tour, an original tour, not a...
Yeah, original tour. I'm like, my goal is to get us on for like summer 2024 opening for like Hailstorm.
Wow, they're great. They just
I just saw them actually at PNC with Pretty Reckless, and I remember me and my guitar player were standing there, and I was like, we're gonna open for them like 2 years from now.
That's good. And you've heard it here first, by the way. You've heard it here first.
Now I hope it happens, because I said it.
And I'm sure it will, because I think the universe is just going to point you there. I have something on my phone that I want to read to you, because I think this is important. And by the way, somebody used to say that you like people who are like you or who you want to be like. Fine. So I connect with you in so many ways, because I found that my journey is the same, very similar to yours. I was a hustler. I tell people I'm the most successful failure in music, because I wanted to be in your seat right there and playing shows as the next Eddie Van Halen or Jimmy Page, and it didn't happen for me. But I was the hustler. I was the guy that ran everything. I took care of the marketing. I took care of booking the shows and writing the songs and owning a recording studio. But I see that in you. And the one thing that I gotta say, I'm gonna read this to you now, because somebody said this. I wish there was a way to know that you're in the good old days before you actually left them. And I'm a lot older than you, and I gotta tell you, just take a break, look back and say, these are the good old days, because you're gonna look back in 10 years and it's gonna go like that, and you are just killing it, and you gotta just be grateful for what you have. You have a talent beyond any. I mean, you are super talented, but the fact that you're not so much talented as you are a hustler, as you're motivated, you're focused, I've never seen that in people your age. Like I see I have kids who, whether my kids or they're not as focused, and I want you to just understand that you are killing it right now.
Thank
and
you.
To know that in 20 years you look back and go, man, I was killing it and I didn't even know. You are killing it, and I want you to know that these right now, today, this is the good old days, Gabby.
Thank you.
So in a couple of years, even 10 years, you'll look back on this podcast and you're gonna say, shit, he was right. Just the question is that you take a breath and step back and just look at it for a little. Look at how beautiful things are.
Yeah.
But I wanted to tell you how much I honor you. I think you're amazing. You're a superstar.
Thank you.
I want people to follow you. So how or what is the best way for people to find out your shows and all that good stuff?
I post everything on my social media. Instagram and Facebook is best. On Instagram, it's Gab Cinque, GABCINQUE.
We'll put that in the show notes.
And same spelling, the Gab Cinque Band on Facebook and Instagram. Same thing. That's all the band updates. But yeah.
You have a YouTube channel where people can watch?
Yeah, you just look up my name, Gab Cinque, and stuff comes up. I don't post on there too frequently, but we'll have originals coming out soon and a lot of all that stuff going on. So.
And one day maybe you'll end up back at Rock Out Loud teaching rock and roll voice lessons again.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Ladies and gentlemen, Gabby Cinque.